This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on the State. And on this day, October the 9th, in the year 1997, Dean Smith decides to retire as North Carolina head coach after so many years of great prowess. He had 36 years at North Carolina Chapel Hill and looked like he was going to be the coach, the greatest coach of all time. Smith had a lot of things going for him: a high graduation rate, recruiting African American players, and did a lot of things. He had advanced dementia. So Dean Smith was born February 28, 1931, and went to the University of Kansas on an academic scholarship, majored in mathematics. And he played for the 1952 champion Jayhawks. And then they got to the finals in 1953. And all that. Dean Smith knew his basketball coach was Paul Gallen, who was actually coached by Kansas by the inventor of basketball, James Naismith. So anyway, he was the assistant coach for Kansas and then was stationed in the air base in Germany. And all that. In 1958, he was actually asked to join North Carolina's staff as an assistant coach, and he did. Unfortunately, there was a recruiting scandal, and Frank McGuire was forced to resign. So, anyway. He was told that when he took over the program that wins and losses didn't matter as much as running a clean program and representing the university well. So, anyway. He turned North Carolina into a consistent success. For 21 years, they were always at least tied for second in the ACC and all that. Smith knew his successes would come in the 1960s, and it did. They went to 3 straight Final Fours, winning a chance to win the national championship in 1968, but losing to those pesky UCLA Bruins. Smith's final 31 years in Chapel Hill was either the NCAA or NIT. Anyway, Smith would wait several years before his first national championship in 1982. He had MJ, had Worthy, and Sam Perkins on his team. They were 32-2. Wow. They played with Georgetown, Houston, and Louisville in the Final Four. In the semifinals, North Carolina would take care of Houston 5-slam Jamma in New Orleans, 68-63, and Georgetown beat Louisville by 4. So that meant that Georgetown, North Carolina for the national title game, and it was close. However, Michael Jordan made a game-winning shot to make it 63-62. Georgetown did have another chance to make things happen, but Fred Brown of the Hoyas passed the ball directly to James Worthy with no Georgetown player near the pass. Worthy dribbled out the clock, and Dean Smith got his first national championship in his 7th Final Four appearance. Can you imagine that? Going through all those Final Fours and 7th time's the charm. And then his second national title was in 93, followed with George Lynch, Eric Montross, Donald Williams, and Derek Phelps. They actually started out great, but they had to face Michigan in the semis of the Rainbow Classic. Yeah, North Carolina had tried everything. They were ranked number 1 heading into the last week of the regular season. Lost to Georgia Tech in the ACC final, but nevertheless, they were given a top seed in the regional, 93. They took care of East Carolina, Rhode Island, Arkansas, to my chagrin, of course, and Cincinnati. They reached the Final Four in New Orleans. North Carolina would face Kansas in the national semis, and Dean Smith beat Kansas, his alma mater, with Roy Williams. So it was revenge for 91 when Kansas beat North Carolina in the semifinals and got to the final. So anyway, UNC would take on Michigan in the finals. It was a seesaw battle. North Carolina missed a few free throws, and then Chris Webber attempted to bring the ball up the court and traveled, but the referees missed it. And then Webber was caught in the corner. He called a timeout, but stupidly he forgot. There's no timeout. Anyway, there was a gigantic scandal. Michigan got lucky they didn't win the title because they would have been really in trouble because of the booster scandal with Ed Martin and all that. Smith decided to retire October 9th, 1987. It was actually unexpected. Bill Guthridge, who was assistant for 30 years, actually was named head coach. Smith said that he just couldn't give the same enthusiasm and all that. Anyway, the North Carolina coaching tree was huge. Guthridge only coached 3 years before Matt Doherty was named head coach, and then was taken out after 3 years by Roy Williams, who came back and got North Carolina a title. Anyway. Anyway, he was a pretty good player and all that. Anyway, Smith helped 96% of his North Carolina students graduate and all that, which would be pretty much cool and all that. So anyway, he was very influential. So Dean Smith was a legend for North Carolina. And it was like, how can you fathom the fact that, it was strange in 97 because, yeah, it was unexpected, especially since they got to the Final Four the previous years. So that was kind of weird. If he had a terrible season and all that, that's understandable. 1975, he led North Carolina to the NCAA tournament every year from 1975 to 1997. So that's just amazing what they did. But North Carolina wouldn't be the same without Dean Smith, and it took him a while to actually get back to prominence without Dean Smith. So that's that. Anyway, I'm going to do.